Welcome back to Friends in the Corner podcast, a new podcasting experience here in the bluegrass state of Kentucky, and I'm your host, Dan Pauly. And guys, we've got a special episode today. I'm going to be doing an interview with Rye Davis, and if that's a name you haven't heard of before, keep in touch, because I promise you this, you're going to be hearing it one day. He is a quote-unquote rising star in the country music game. He was actually on a show called Rising Star, so we're going to touch on that a little bit here. But you don't want to miss this interview. So that interview is going to be coming up here momentarily, but before we get to that, we do need to talk about one big blue elephant in the room, or should I say one big blue wildcat, right? After all, we can't go one episode without mentioning it. The streak is over. Wildcats go on the road to defeat the Florida Gators in the swamp. Thanks to the likes of that offense with touchdown Terry Wilson and Benny Snells, who had 125 rushing yards, the UK Wildcats were able to beat the Florida Gators 27-16. And did I mention this game was on the road in Florida with a hot crowd? Man, I mean, I could talk about this forever. But, you know, I thought to myself, who can do this victory more justice than me? And there's only one guy that could come to mind. Friend of the show and BBN Shock Talk host, Max Gabi. Let's hear what he had to say.
Okay, last 9 seconds. Okay, we got this. We got this. No, we're going to screw it up. We're going to screw it up somehow. No. New era. We got this. We're going to win this game. Come on, defense. Someone make a stop. Okay, come on. All right, it's going back. Get to him. That's a fumble. We got it. No, incomplete. 4 seconds left. Gosh, give him one more check. Why is he running? Why is Stoops running? Why is everyone running? What are you doing? What's going on? Wait, did we just score? We scored! That's touchdown! That's game! Yes! Wait, we're reviewing it. Of course, they're going to get 4 more seconds, and it's going to be game over. And, no, wait. Is the hand going forward? Is the arm going forward? That ball's out! Josh Allen got to him. I know a fumble when I see it. That's a fumble. And they're reviewing it. It stands! Touchdown! Let's go! Yes! Woo!
All right, well, thank you, Max, for that great review. Gosh, I'm just still got chills in my body from that win, guys. For years, going to UK football games, going to UK versus Florida football games, multiple times, come just so close, yet so far away. Just victory tastes so great. So way to go, Big Blue Nation. Way to go, UK football. Way to go, BBN. And hey, the celebration for me didn't quite end there. The next day, Sunday, I watched my Cleveland Browns break their losing streak by tying a game with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, tying. It wasn't a loss. It was a draw, which means for the first time in 2 years, the Cleveland Browns go into a season without a loss. It's the best start of the season we've had since 2004. Whew. Go Browns. So, man, this has all been exciting. Just an exciting week altogether. But you know what's just as exciting as UK winning against Florida or Cleveland getting a draw against Steelers? Following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Yes, you can follow our show, Friends in the Corner, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FITC Podcast. That's FITC Podcast. You can also follow us on YouTube, where you can subscribe and see future episodes and some future YTEs as well. We may have one coming up here soon, I'm just saying. But you can follow our shows that way. You can also always email the show at friendsinthecorner@gmail.com. That's friendsinthecorner, all together lowercase, @gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on all of our podcast streaming services. We're on 5 different areas you can listen to us to: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and of course YouTube. So be sure to go on there, leave us a review. More 5-star reviews we get on iTunes, the better we do, and the better we'll do on this podcast here. So please make sure to go and leave us that reviews. All right, guys. Well, we're not going to take too much time here. We're going to get into the main event of this evening in our interview with Rye Davis. So for those of you who have never heard of Rye Davis before, he is a country singer from here in Kentucky. He was a contestant on the short-lived music contest show on ABC called Rising Star. It was basically ABC's equivalent of American Idol or The Voice at the time, but since the Rising Star has faded, he's continued to shine, and we're excited to have him here on the podcast. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his journey from the minor league baseball fields to Rising Star to continuing to go on tour with different people and playing a number of different venues to the release of his latest album that just came out a few weeks ago, A Story to Tell. So, guys, you don't want to miss this interview from Rye Davis. Here we go. All right. Well, we're here with a very special guest here today, Mr. Rye Davis. How you doing today, Rye?
I am doing fantastic, man. Getting ready. We got a big show tonight anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Tell us a little bit about where you're playing at here tonight.
I'm doing the Nash Next competition up here at Austin City Saloon. So we're in Lexington with you this morning, so we figured we'd stop by and just say hey for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, what's the Nash Next competition? What's that about?
It's a competition where if you win, I reckon you go to Nashville and try and get you a big fancy record deal. So We'll see how that turns out.
All right. Well, hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, you'll already be in Nashville, already winning the competition. So
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
On wood. Hey, you're familiar with some competition shows, so we'll get to that here in a little bit here. But Rye, I'm excited to have you on here. You know, I got to go see you play a couple weeks ago, and really loved just listening to you. Was invited by my buddy Nathan, who's here in the audience here today, and really love what you hear, and just kind of told me about your story, and I wanted to just share that here on the podcast. So if you don't mind, let's just dive deep right into it right now. Tell us a little bit about who Rye Davis is. Tell us a little bit of your story, man.
Okay. Well, my story in music really started, I guess, I used to play minor league baseball. It's kind of how I got rolling. Mm-hmm. I was with a Phillies organization for a couple years. And bought one of those little mini travel guitars. It kind of looks like a ukulele on my big frame. So, but yeah, I bought one of those things, and I just started strumming chords and making as much music as I could. And once baseball was over, I was like, I want to give this thing a shot. And so that's where that all got started. And but other than that, there's really not much to me, man. I'm just a big old country fella from Pig, Kentucky. Likes making music and singing songs. Yeah.
From Pig, Kentucky?
Pig, Kentucky, yeah. R-Y-E from P-I-G. That's what I tell folks anyway.
Where's Pig, Kentucky at?
Right around the Mammoth Cave National Park area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Outside Glasgow kind of area?
Yeah, in between Bowling Green and Glasgow. So heart of Kentucky, baby.
I'll tell you, I've never heard such crazy names for cities until I moved to Kentucky. Big Bone, Pig, and all that stuff.
Yeah, we got, and just in Evanston County alone, we got a town called Klebiet, Bee Spring, Pig, of course. There's Black Gnat just up the road from us.
So what's Pig known for? What do you do in Pig, Kentucky?
It's just right outside the national park. So Mammoth Cave National Park.
So you leave it to go to the national park?
Yeah. Mostly it's kind of a little bit of a tourist trap there right next to Cave City. So it's pretty cool little area.
All right. Well, everybody go check out Pig, Kentucky. And I'm excited to be here now with the Pride of Pig.
Yeah, Pride of Pig,
Rye Davis.
The tourism's really going to pick up now. I'll be expecting a check from them. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're telling us here that you played for the Phillies and that you really got started in music while you were still playing ball out there.
Yeah.
So was that how old were you when you did that?
Early 20s.
Early 20s?
I guess 22,
okay.
23 before I really got started. I didn't do anything in music before that.
Well,
Here we are, yeah.
Okay, well, It came pretty fast because you were just on a show a couple years ago called Rising Star. And what exactly is Rising Star?
Rising Star was a show that ABC done. It was kind of their version of like American Idol or The Voice or something like that. And they had 3 judges, and basically all you did was you got behind this big wall and you sang to it. And and the audience, it was like live voting. It was the first ever like live vote.
Really?
thing.
So that was like kind of their gimmick that they did, was that the fans did it. Okay.
Yeah. So what you did is you downloaded an app, which that put me at a disadvantage anyway, because all my friends are too silly to be able to download apps at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're technologically challenged anyway. But
what year was this now?
I don't know. It was. I guess it's been 3 years ago now.
3 years. So 2014, 2015 ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So, and that was actually, I'd never heard of the show before. I tried out because my wife, or she wasn't my wife then, she was a girl I was talking to then, said, "Hey, you need to try it for this show." So we did and tried out, and I made it. So, but that was, it's kind of their version of American Idol, and I got lucky enough to get on it and spend some time out in Los Angeles and stuff.
Okay, so it was in LA and stuff like that. Wait, so you auditioned and did everything out in LA then?
I auditioned in Nashville.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I auditioned in Nashville and just went and sang in front of a bunch of people, and they liked it.
Oh, good. Well, happy to hear. Well, hey. Well, and unfortunately, though, Rising Star only lasted 1 season. And how'd you do in the competition?
I was eliminated in the TV rounds.
The TV rounds?
Yeah. So I made it to what was the final stage. We made it down to there was like 10 of us left or something like that. And I made it down to the voting rounds.
Okay.
And which was, it was a fun experience. I mean, a free trip to LA is pretty cool. You get to see lots of weird. There's a lot of odd stuff goes on in LA. As a fella, that's the first time I ever seen a feller wear high heels and not, not trying to hide it. You know what I'm saying? he was pretty proud of it. That feller in high heels, I tell you right now.
Yeah, I worked in LA when I was in college. Yeah, it's a different experience from Kentucky.
It was a different experience. We had a fella from Texas. My roommate was from Texas. His name's Will, and we did our best. We couldn't find a bar that just served Busch Light or Bud Light to save our lives, man. It was all fancy stuff. So,
and so you said you heard about the show through Brandy, and you just did how many rounds did you have to go through to 3 in order to get to television round?
There, yeah. So you had to do the tryout round, and then they did another round for the people that made it. And then after you made it, you went on out to L.A. for the 3rd round, which was the final, down to 100 people.
Gotcha. And that's where you're eliminated. And
Yeah.
that's why that show got canceled, because they didn't let you pass the first.
Well, I mean, I'd agree with it. Yeah, I'd 100% agree. All the rednecks got mad. You know what I mean?
I
They
know.
eliminated me. Yeah.
Well, we've actually got a clip. For those of you who don't know, you can still find Rising Star's YouTube page on there. Do a quick Google search on Rye Davis, and you'll find it. And so we actually have the video clip here, and I will share this also to my Facebook and Twitter page as well. So if you guys want to see it here. And since you're here, I just want to talk about this moment during the competition here. Talk to me a little bit about it and see. So just for those of you following at home, the 3 judges that they had here were Ludacris, Kesha, and Brad Paisley. So really only one of them actually was a bona fide country singer. The other two, that's and you can watch Ludacris's face during your presentation here. And it's something. So I'm not going to play the audio for this because this is an ABC clip, and I don't want to be sued by Disney. So,
Okay, they're a little bigger. You're almost up there.
They got some money. I found out the other day they hire more lawyers than illustrators, so we're not going to get in that realm. So, the first clip here is just of Rye walking up on stage here. So what's going through your mind in this moment as you're kind of walking up to, I guess, the wall that you approach to?
I hope my hair looks good.
How old were you at this time?
20-something.
20-something.
Early 20s. I was thinking, man, I hope my hair looks good. And these in-ear monitors fit really funny. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Got countdown music in 3, 2, 1. So are you nervous at all at this point, or kind of look around?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really the nervous type. I kind of get to... It was the first time I'd ever played with in-ear monitors and not having a band behind me. So I think that was probably what I was most nervous about when I was up there.
Oh, okay, so they have the wall and then they project it onto their side. There's their family.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't see. You don't see anything but a wall. It's kind of like when you like when you're singing in the shower.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just kind of singing to the tiles there. That's kind of what it was like.
So could you like hear the crowd or anything like that, or is it pretty much just you?
No,
in a blank
it was
space?
just me. Have you ever had in-ear monitors in? Have you ever tried those?
Not yet. No.
So it's basically like headphones. Like when you talk through the headphone, you can hear yourself singing.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the first time I'd ever done anything. That was the first thing of that realm I'd ever done. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience. It was a little bit nerve-wracking on the side of just not knowing, I guess, like like how the votes were going or like who was listening or anything.
Is this what this monitor is? Just the votes they're coming in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. As the votes go in, I think you have to get like, I don't even remember, 60%, 40%, something. I don't know.
Gotcha. And what did the judges have to do? Because you see them kind of hitting the buttons on you, but what impact did they have on the competition?
They give let's see. They get like a certain percentage. They get like a certain percentage of the vote or something like that. So you just like,
and we see Ludacris thinking about eliminating you, but not quite sure yet. His faces in this is just what gets me. He's
he definitely got to give me a no. Me and Ludacris, we're not exactly best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they got some dirt on it. Well, I was gonna say, did you get to meet the three judges before the competition?
Just in passing. Just got to say hey to them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, all right. And then you kind of see this wall here, and you can see your family right here, kind of cheering you on and all that stuff.
Yeah, they made the trip. They drove all the way out, actually.
From Pig, Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep,
boy.
They made the drive there from Pig all the way out, and then we actually kind of made a vacation out of it. We ended up stopping, like after I got eliminated, they were there, and we ended up just making a road trip from L.A. all the way back to good old Pig, Kentucky. Yeah.
Seeing all the sights along there. So after you were eliminated, did you get any feedback from either the judges or anybody else on your performance? Or what were some of the stuff that was said about you when you were after your performance that day?
Most of it was good feedback. Mm-hmm. It was definitely. I obviously got eliminated, but I got Brad Paisley. He did compare me to an early Alan Jackson, so that was pretty cool. As far
that's good company to be in right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the one thing that I can really take out of the Rising Star was it was super early in my career, man. It was one of those things to where. I'd never done anything on that scale. I'd only played a handful of shows in my life.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things to where, like, you learn a lot of, like, how the industry works and really kind of what it takes to be at that level. So it was a really good experience, and I really got to see how everything works and really to know what not to do as well. Like, okay, this may not be where I want to go with my career as far as, like, trying to be, like, the big TV, national, whatever guy. You know,
right.
I'm definitely a more down-home guy that likes more root-style music and goes more of a connection toward his music. So it was a really good experience. It was a really good time. I got to meet a lot of lifelong friends.
So do you still keep in touch with other people that were in the contest to this day, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I've just got an invite to Will's wedding. Me and the fellow I was talking about. So he's got a wedding come up. So congratulations to them. But yeah, it was a great experience, man.
But you were kind of saying you didn't really start playing until you were in your early 20s.
Absolutely,
and you were 25 as they showed on the screen there when you were in that conversation. So like literally. A year or two into your music career,
probably,
and you're already on the network. You're already on ABC, which is a big, television broadcast company. So it's like that's still impressive just to know that you made it that far with little. Because I'm sure some of those people on that competition have been doing this since they were younger than that. So
a lifetime. Yeah. And I've always been kind of gifted. Vocally, what I mean? I could always sing. I grew up singing a little bit in church, and I grew up just being around music. My parents are music fans. I never was a musician and never did anything professionally, but I always really loved music and just liked to sing. And that was back before I only knew a couple chords on a guitar. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where I liked to sing, and I knew that's what I was going to do. And I always I'm the type of guy that just kind of dive in. To be honest with you, go head first in it. So.
Tell me a little bit about how your life changed after that competition for you. Because were you getting recognized more after that? What'd you do afterwards?
Absolutely. As far as back home, on a national level, we did get. It was the first time I'd ever got noticed nationally after when we stopped and seen the Grand Canyon, and there was somebody that seen the show that recognized me like 2 days later. So that was kind of where I realized how big of a step that something like that could have been for my career. But then when we went back home, what it did back home and in the region was made people realize that I was a serious musician, and it got people like they recognized who I was. And having that recognition really helped me to get people out to my shows so that I could play my music. And it's really the biggest reason why I do most of these shows like that, like why I do try out. I know a lot of artists don't really like the TV thing or trying out for even the record deal thing. A lot of folks don't like. But I kind of do because it makes people know that you're serious and your options are always open, and they can show up and to hear what you got. You know what I'm saying?
It gets more people to notice you and recognize you and get you out there. So
if and in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, if music's what is important to you, then the more people can hear that music, the better off it is, as long as it's still your music. So yeah.
Cool. So where are some of the places you've played since then?
Oh man, everywhere. We've played. I did the cover band thing for a while after that. Actually, I did while I was working on my music. I wanted to become a better musician. I knew that was a big part of me becoming better. So I came back and I started writing as much as I could and tried, and I just grabbed a guitar and we put a little band together and we traveled all over. We played everywhere from Montana to Pennsylvania and everywhere in between. We've been as far south as southern Alabama, and just a big triangle in between there. Played everywhere in Kentucky. So yeah.
I think I heard some. You said you mentioned you played at Rupp Arena at one point. Is that right?
Yeah. I got lucky enough to. I played for the FFA, the state FFA convention. That was about a year after that show was over, and I got contacted by them. And agriculture is probably, next to music, is probably the biggest thing in my life. We actually still farm. We've got me and my wife and my dad have about 100 head of cattle that we still run and do on a daily basis. So that's something that's always been really important to me is agriculture, especially in the States. So when they reach out to me, we jumped all over it.
So farmer by night and country singer, or farmer by day,
country singer by night. Yeah, it's hard to farm at night. You can't hardly see nothing. You bump into the cows, you know.
Well, good. One other venue I kind of saw when I was going through some of your stuff and doing some research was Bluebird Cafe in Nashville.
Yeah.
That's where Can you tell some of our listeners about some of the history behind Bluebird Cafe and what does it mean to you to finally get a spot like that out there?
Oh, absolutely. The Bluebird Cafe, it's a pretty iconic place as far as a lot of guys really got their start out there. And I was lucky enough it's kind of a tryout thing too. So there's a big line of songwriters the way that they do it, and you wait outside this venue and you go and everybody gets 3 songs and they play, or the first like so many people that show up get to show up and play in there, and then they judge you as well. And if they like your songs, then you get what's called an invited comeback. So we went and did that, and we came back and got a chance to open for a fellow named Don Schlitz, who has written songs you've probably heard of. One of them called The Gambler, Deeper Than the Holler, like all those big old Randy Travis hits and stuff. He's in the Songwriting Hall of Fame, and I got a chance to open up for him that night. And have actually been invited back to play there. Just the schedules haven't really lined up. So
good.
The Bluebird Cafe is a place where the songwriters perform. So it was a real honor to play there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Going back to Rising Star for just a minute here.
All right.
I know during the clip we were seeing and on the show, you sung When You Say Nothing at All.
Actually, Don Schlitz wrote that song.
Did he really?
It kind of come full circle there.
Right?
Yeah.
So why did you choose that song to sing on there? Was that your choice? Was that the network's choice, or?
Well, they wanted me to sing a different song because. Okay, we'll go ahead and dive in on the podcast here, okay? I'm trying to be a little bit politically correct, but we'll be nice about it. Okay, so on the show, they wanted me to sing. They heard a Randy Travis in my voice, and the kind of what they wanted me to be was the next Randy Travis. Is the way that they kind of seen me. But that's so they wanted me to sing a Randy Travis song. But the last thing that I want to do is be somebody else. So I purposely told them no, and we didn't have it out. It was more of a they wanted me to sing one song and I wanted to sing another. So they said, well, you can sing a Keith Whitley song, which is what I wanted to sing, When You Say Nothing at All. but we need to up the tempo and change the key so it kind of fits the TV. You only get so much time.
Right.
So so we agreed there, and I think we both got kind of what we wanted there. I got to sing a good classic country song, and I didn't have to sound like Randy Travis, which Randy Travis is one of my heroes, don't get me wrong, but I didn't want to sound too much like him, and that's kind of one of the disagreements we had on the show, and that was when I said earlier how you don't really want, it's a learning experience. I also learned that it's their way or no way on a lot of things, and that's why I may want to go the route of trying to be my own musician and do things independent until I get large enough where I can make those type of decisions. Which the reason that people make that type of money and the reason that they make those type of successful artists is because they know what they're doing. I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing, but I picked that song for that reason.
Good.
So,
do you still get requests to sing that at all?
All the time. All the time. And it's a great song, so I don't mind singing it at all.
Well, yeah,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, you mentioned how Randy Travis is probably one of your heroes, and I know you've been compared to Alan Jackson and stuff like that, but who have been some of your influences on you as a musician?
Probably too many to name. Number one, first and foremost, is probably going to be Waylon Jennings. My dad was a huge Waylon Jennings fan. I know just about every Waylon Jennings song ever written. Hank Williams Jr. is definitely more. My first is definitely one. My first ever album, actually, that I owned was a CCR album. So I'm a big John Fogerty fan. That's probably where a lot of my rock influence comes from. And also, I'm the Charlie Daniels, big
Charlie Daniels,
yeah,
that
Charlie
one down
Daniels,
Georgia.
Skinner, like all those guys. So I would say, and I've definitely got more of a classic country tone, and really love the classic country stuff. But as far as my influence goes, I like a little bit more of a driving stuff, and I think that's where a lot of like my Waylon influence. I really like the driving, hard on that kick drum, 4 on the floor, hammer down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, I would definitely say Waylon number one. Fogerty's in there. Hank Jr., of course, Randy, like all the classic guys like that. And then as far as songwriting goes, I know I'm naming every artist you could think of here, but Willie Nelson, love Willie Nelson's writing style. Man, just too many to name. And lately, Chris Stapleton, he's one of those guys that there's a little story behind that. We were it's one of those albums, that Travel album, when that came out. We were going through, the first song I heard on that album was The Devil Named Music, and we were driving from, I can't remember where we were going, but we were going to Billings, Montana, and it was after midnight, and the first song that came on was The Devil Named Music, and it goes, we drove all night to Billings, Montana, and I was like, that's because this is my man. So yes, those are the influence, and the most modern guy would definitely be Stapleton. He's kind of my idol right now. I kind of want to do what he's doing. So
Gotcha. Well,
yeah.
cool. Well, awesome. Well, it's all led you up to this point where, as of today is the 25th.
Yeah.
Yesterday you released your album.
Yep, got a brand spanking new album out that we've been working on for a couple years.
Story to tell. So can you tell us a little bit about the process of getting that album together? Just a story. Tell us the story of A Story to Tell.
A Story to Tell is one of those albums that it's not a lifetime worth of work, but it is. It's probably a process of about 3 or 4 years worth of work. Ever since the show, the Rising Star Show, we knew we wanted to put an album out, so we actually released a CD with like some demo stuff on it immediately after that. And just to be honest with you, I wasn't real pleased with it. I didn't feel like it really said anything about me as an artist. So what we done, every song on the album is either written or co-written by me. And I really wanted every single song to either have some sort of story or relate, be able to, for folks to have some sort of relationship with. Every song, I thought that I wanted to have a connection with people, and that's what a story to tell is. It's about 3 or 4 years worth of songs that we've put together, the songs that we're really proud of, and we thought really represented us as a first album, so that we could put out there and just keep pushing that thing and see how many people out there were like me. I'm kind of taking the position of, instead of trying to sing what's on the radio and kind of trying to sing what people like, I want to make the music that I like, and then that way it kind of attracts the people who are like me. And doing that, it's made me a lot of not only like fans but friends as well. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's kind of our goal. We're going to put this album out of the music that we like, so that people like us will come to that music, and then instead of making fans, we're just going to make thousands of friends. And it's working like a charm so far. We're just going out and playing as much of our music as we can, and it's an album we're really proud of. And go get it, go download it. Yeah.
Hey, wonderful album. I've gotten to listen to a few songs already.
Yeah.
Good cover work too. I've always I was telling Nathan the other day, I love you guys' logo that you have for you guys. And first off, Rye Davis, what a perfect name for a country singer.
Yeah.
So
Mama did good on that one. Yeah, she did good.
It was meant to be. So,
yeah, man.
So everyone should check that album out, and we'll let you pitch some of where to find that here in a little bit here. But
okay.
Tell us, man, you're still young, still in your 20s, I'm hoping. So
yeah,
just
yeah.
about.
Well, for about another 5 months, I'm still in my 20s. I moisturize good, I reckon. I'm 29, so yeah. And holding.
So still young in your career and stuff like that. Where do you hope to go from here? Now you've released your first an album like this, and been on the shows and gone. Where you want to go from this point?
The number one goal that I want to do in my music career is I want to sell out the Ryman Auditorium. It holds 2,362 people.
Where's that at?
It's in Nashville. It's the Mother Church of Country Music. That's where everything got started. It's where the opera got started. It's where every great musician that's ever played has in the country world has performed, and that's my goal. I want to sell 2,362 tickets and sell out the Ryman Auditorium with my music, and that's where I want to go. So everything's geared toward that. As far as this album goes, I think it's a good stepping stone for us. I think it's a good representation of where we are right now in my career, and letting people know, hey, we're here. We're making we're writing good songs, making good music, and going out and trying to make a connection with people. And if you like it, jump on and let's ride this thing out. So, but that's where I want to go in my career, and then after that we'll find out. But everything else leading up to that is to sell out the Ryman Auditorium.
All right. Well, we'll see you here. Hopefully, we'll be able to do another podcast before you go on there.
Yeah, man.
Year, so.
Why not? It'd be great.
Absolutely. So, and you've already released this album. Is there any plans to get another album out there?
Actually, yeah. We're meeting Tuesday for the next album. We've got enough songs. We've actually got enough songs and enough material for at least a couple more. To get in the can. But we're meeting this week actually to start talking about plans for next year's album and try and get one out there. And there might be a surprise album in the can. I don't know.
A surprise album.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
guess we'll have to stay tuned for that. So, well, Rye, I just want to say thank you so much for your time here
thanks,
today.
Man. We appreciate you having me in.
Absolutely, man. So just fun to have you on here, and this farmer / country singer from Pig, Kentucky. Hopefully, we can get your name around here in Lexington a little bit more. See you at some of Austin City's great, but let's see you at some of these other venues around here too. Hopefully, if that.
Let's do it. Yeah. Holler at them. Y'all tell your friends.
So this time, I just want to give to you is yours. The floor is yours. So if you want to pitch anything, pitch your album, pitch your social media, I just want to give you that time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thanks for having me, and everybody that's taking a listen, go check it out. You can find my new album, A Story to Tell, on everywhere that you can get your music. I know I'm sounding like a little bit of a radio guy now, but everywhere you can find music, go check it out. A Story to Tell, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon's got one. You can't hear it on the radio station yet, but maybe if you holler and pester them enough, they'll get it on there too. Who knows? But yeah, we thank you guys for taking a listen. I'm Rye, and y'all come out and catch a show.
Awesome. And at the end of this episode, I want all my listeners to stay tuned because we're actually going to be giving a preview to one of Rye's songs from that album.
Awesome.
So be sure to check that out, and I hope you guys enjoy it and go download it. So thank you again, Rye.
Thank you.
All right, and that is it for our interview of Rye Davis. I just want to say thank you to Rye and his wife, Brandy, for taking the time out of their busy schedule to come and do a short interview with me on the podcast here. It was just a pleasure to get to talk to them. Afterwards, we went and got some dinner with them, too. So they're just a fun couple and just a fun time with Rye. So, Rye, thank you so much. So, everyone, if you haven't already, go check out Rye Davis's music on Spotify. Download it on iTunes. Go find him on YouTube. I promise you this, even if you don't love country music, you might find something you enjoy. And now we just want to give you guys a little sample of what to expect from his new album by playing you guys one of my favorite songs from his new album, A Story to Tell. It's called They All Know My Name. And trust me, after this, I'm sure you guys will get to know Rye Davis's name very well. So let's hit it.
blood, sweat, and beer. Pour out my soul up on this stage, and they don't even know I'm here. Yeah, I'm hanging on by some thread of hope, knowing one day things are gonna change. And everybody sings my song, and they all know my name. Give me a six string, I got a melody and a story to tell. Yeah, you're wasting your time, waiting on me to fail. I got a tip jar and I'll play for free. One day things are gonna change when everybody sings my songs. They all know my name. Some folks would say that I've walked away from good jobs I should have kept, but I don't care, 'cause that ain't me. This is who I am. 'Cause there's something deep inside of me, a lot of songs that ain't been wrote. It's a long way to the top. Man, it ain't no joke. Give me a six string, I got a melody and a story to tell. Yeah, you're wasting your time, waiting on me to fail. I got a tip jar and I'll play for free. One day things are gonna change, and everybody sings my songs. They all know my name. Give me a six string, I got a melody and a story to tell. Yeah, you're wasting your time, waiting on me to fail. I got a tip jar and I'll play for free. One day things are gonna change, and everybody sings my song. They all know my name. Yeah, when they all know my name. With a cheap guitar and a broken heart, a lot of blood, sweat, and beer. I pour out my soul up on this stage, and they don't even know I'm here.
Guys, well, that was They All Know My Name by Rye Davis on his new album, A Story to Tell. Make sure to check out that song and many more from his album on Spotify and on iTunes. And be sure to also follow Rye on Twitter at Rye Davis. You can also find him on Facebook at Rye Davis Music. You can also find upcoming tour dates on his website, www.ryedavis.com. So go ahead, go like him on social media, go download his music, get his name out there. So I promise you this, they're all going to know his name one day, and it's going to be wonderful here in the state of Kentucky. So go and support Rye Davis. And also, while you're at it, go and support our show as well. You can go like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FITC Podcast. That's at FITC Podcast. You always email the show at friendsinthecorner@gmail.com. That's friendsinthecorner, all together lowercase, at gmail.com. And be sure to go leave us a review on iTunes and Stitcher. The more 5-star reviews we do, the better content we can put out here. So be sure to do that. And guys, I just want to say thank you again for listening to another episode of Friends in the Corner podcast. I hope you guys enjoy this one, and we'll be back next week with another great interview. That is a wrap.